Welcome to Sikbaggers YouTube channel. I'm Steve, and today we're going to be installing the Ciro 3D's TAC 10 light cannons on the 24 model Street Glide back here. Now, if you've watched any of our videos in the past, you'll know that we've done a ton of Ciro 3D products. Always been extremely happy with everything they've ever produced and we've put on our bikes. One of the things that we did in the past was those TAC 10 cannons when they first came out. We put them on the 2015 Road Glide over there. Absolutely love them. Super bright. On the older models, you could actually use a switch that we put on the dash. Now, the newer models back here don't have those switches anymore because it's all up here in the screen in the computer system. So I'll show you how to get to that later on. Now, on the Street Glide, you can actually get two different kinds of brackets. We're going to be installing them once again down here on the engine guard. That's the brackets that we have today. So the ones that we're going to be installing today are the TAC 10 light cannons with the 1 1/4 inch bar mount. And as you can see right here, this is the engine guard on the touring model, so that's where that's going to go. That's where we installed them on the 15 Road Glide over there. But on the Street Glides, you've got a couple of different ways you can do that. Of course, you can do it on the engine guard like that, even the chopped engine guard like this. It just takes a little bit different kit for the 24 newers. You're also going to need the TAC 10 light cannons installation harness kit. It's going to be part number 45021. I will have links to all of this stuff down in the description. If you want to get your hands on a set of these, just click the links and it'll take you straight over to Ciro to those. Just make sure that you pick the one for your bike. Now, if you're interested in getting these lights for an older model, the pre-23.5 CVO, I'll put a link down in the description down below. It'll take you over to that video that we did, and it'll show you how we installed it with a switch up on the dash. Another popular upgrade that they do offer are yellow lenses, and I'll show you how to switch those out. Now, we generally keep the white ones on there, but if you like the yellow ones, they do offer the interchangeable lenses as well, but that is purchased separately on their website. So we got those lights for that 15 Road Glide over there because out of all the touring models we have in there, that was really our go-to bike for a long time. Still kind of is. But we live out here in deer country, and those things you can aim them. Of course, you don't want to be blinding oncoming traffic. So it's a big thing that I'm going to preach right up front. When you get these installed, take them out, get them on the road, and actually take the time to aim them. If you end up unintentionally blinding oncoming traffic, you're putting that car and yourself in danger. These things are super bright, so it's very important to aim them correctly. So I've just pulled one of the lights out of the box just to quickly go over it so you can see what you're getting before you purchase these. Super heavy duty. We got the heat fins on the outside. Now, if you look inside there, you'll see that long distance iris reflector with that 10 watt Cree LED in there. It's going to give you 2,104 raw lumens per pair. So that is extremely bright. And of course, it's got that super bright white halo ring on the outside. And what I've noticed from mine on that white halo ring, even if you don't have the center LED on, from a little bit of a difference, that white halo ring actually looks like a solid white light. So even during the day, if you're not running those, you've got that white halo light on there, and it's giving you an additional white light in front of your bike, right? And we all know that any light that we can put on the front or the rear of these things is going to help us be seen, especially during the day. You're fighting against the sunlight, you're a very small footprint going down the road, so any additional light that we can add is going to be a safety enhancement to us and everybody else, right? So that's what's cool about that white halo light. So the first thing we're going to do is remove our windshield. It's going to take a Torx 25 to take this whole outer fairing off. Make sure you get the washers out with those windshield screws. Once you have that off, you can simply pull up on the windshield and remove it. It's going to give us 4 screws right here on the top. We're going to remove those. So from there, you're going to pull this up and off. You're going to come around to this side where your vent is. You're going to lift that vent lever all the way up, and there's another screw right below that. And before we get too far, we're going to go ahead and cover up that front fender because we're going to be working right over the top of that. You got 3 screws on each side. If you've got stock mirrors on here, go ahead and twist your mirror. You'll see the screw at the top. It'll be a long one at the top, a short one in the middle, and a long one at the bottom. That's going to leave us 2 screws holding the fairing on. One right here and one right here. These 2 screws, when they're all the way unscrewed, actually stay on the fairing. So once we have that done, all we have to do now, pull that fairing forward, let it set down on the fender, and we got to get in here and disconnect any other lights we have on this. This has the Ciro 3D vent trim light on it right here with turn signals, and then plus your headlight down there at the bottom. We're going to disconnect the headlight. We can set that fairing off to the side. Inside your kit, you're going to have a star washer, a rubber washer, a flat washer, and one of these bolts. Now these already have blue Loctite on the bolt. So all we have to do is put the flat washer on the bolt. It's going to go through the bracket like that, and then we're going to put a star washer on the back side, and then the flat washer you'll see has a little lip on the inside, a smaller lip. That smaller lip goes to the inside towards the light, so that will get installed just like that into the light. In the top you'll see this square here, and that's for a fender bolt. If you look inside the kit, you're going to have two of those fender bolts with the square like that and the flat bottom. That square actually holds that bolt in place, so when we put it in there and turn it, it's locked in place. Now it will be loose until you get your nut on it, but you want to make sure that's in there before you install both sides to the light. So for now, just save a little bit of time, I'm going to cut the camera and do that to both sides and get this light mounted to the bracket. So essentially when you get done, it should look like this. Got it bolted on both sides. Inside your kit, you're going to have two clamps like this. It's two-piece clamps. It's going to have 4 bolts with it, 2 for each side. And of course, that is going to mount here depending on where you want it on your bar. We're going to mount this one just like this, so we can bring this light up into place and mount it here. Now, it does come with a little Allen wrench to put these clamps on, but make sure you put a little blue Loctite on both of those bolts. Like I said, you can put these on your bike however you like. Get my bolt with the Loctite on it. Go ahead and start that top one. We're just going to start it just a little bit. Start it at the bottom. Now we're going to leave that loose so we can make adjustments later. And then from there, we want to go ahead and get our light back up in place here. Now remember what I told you about that bolt. You got to get it in there, but it's going to be loose like that, right? So I just like to pull that bolt up, stick a flathead screwdriver under it to hold it because I can't get my fingers in there. Gonna hold that like that. Gonna grab another washer, flat washer, and then our nylock nut and get that started on there. Now it's time to get to the wiring. All right, so now I've just loosely ran these wires up in here to the inside of the fairing, right? We're just gonna leave these hanging down for right now because we need to get all of our adapters hooked up. We also need to be aware that there are 3 different ways to get these lights to turn on. If you look right down here at the bottom of the adapter sheet, it'll tell you activate by high beam and how to do that. Key on power, which means as soon as you turn the bike on, these lights are going to be on. The factory fog light switch on the 24, which we'll go over that. It's in the infotainment center that's in there, so we'll cover that. And I do believe that's how we're going to hook these up. So if you look at your main harness that comes with the TAC 10 light, you've got 2 accessory plugs right here. You've got a relay, and then you got 3 sets of wires down here. These 2 sets are going to go to the lights. You can look at these pins and look and see how this goes. You really can't mess this up. And then you've got a yellow and red depending on how you want to hook up the lights, how you want them to come on. So we're going to set that there. But in order to get this to connect to the new 24 bike, you have to get this guy here, and this is where that adapter comes in. This is a 12-pin adapter. If you look up in here in your harness, you'll see that there's only one 12-point harness, so you can't mess this up either. It won't go in this 6-pin, it won't go in this 8-pin, it won't go in this flat connector. Just look at your connectors, right? So we're going to take that adapter, male and a female, we're just daisy chaining that in, right? So we're just going to disconnect this 12-pin connector, and then we're going to just plug this in female to male. Listen for that click. Come back over here, do the other side. Listen for that click. Now, all of these wires are still connected in a series just like you had it before you put the adapter in. But now it adds this key on accessory wire. Now you're going to bring your harness back up into play. You're going to see this is a female, this is a male. So we're going to take that male end. We're going to plug that into there. Very easy. That is the LED light ring. Like I said, the light ring on these lights is key on power all the time. So as soon as you turn the bike on, the light ring on the fog light will come on. That leaves you with this female right here. That's for other accessories. It's just a little Y splitter. If you look at it, it's just daisy chained in here. So if you have other lights that you want to connect, that leaves you with one open. If you're not using this, go ahead and just put a little tape around this just to keep dust and water and stuff out of it, right? Got your 2 wires that go down to your fog lights, right? So we're going to hook those up. You got 3 wires coming off each one, white to white, black to black. Make sure you get those all the way pressed in, and red to red. Can't mess that up either. Ciro always makes this stuff super easy to connect, right? So red to red, black to black, white to white. Sure, you push hard on those and make sure they're all the way connected. So now we've got these coming up, we've got our relay, we got our accessory, and that leaves this guy right here. And this guy right here is the ones that you're gonna deal with depending on how you want these lights to come on. If you come back up here to the activate by high beam, to do this, install the 6-pin headlight adapter harness directly between the headlight and original wire harness. Connect the red wire of the main TAC 10 harness to the yellow wire. So this other adapter that we have here is going to have a male and a female. Right there on the side where we disconnected the headlight, that's going to get plugged in there. That's going to go to your headlight, and that's going to leave you that yellow wire. You're going to take that red wire, you got a red and yellow, and the one that's left over, you're going to take that red wire and connect it to that yellow wire, and that's going to give you high beam activation. If you want key on all the time power, pull this out. You may have to cut some of this sheath back. We're going to pull this out, we're going to connect this yellow to this red, and that's going to give you key on power all the time. So as soon as you turn the bike on, these lights are on. But like I said, we're going to do the fog light switch. So in the adapter kit, you're going to see a black wire like this with a female spade connector, and then a 4-pin connector like this. Now we got to get the camera and get underneath the front of the bike. All right, so we got you underneath the bike here. Right here's your oil cooler. You're going to come down, you're going to follow this back, and right here is a plug. And you'll notice that if you feel the back side of this, it's just plugged off. It's not, there's nothing connected there, right? So we're going to disconnect this, turn this thing around. You can see right there, this is just a plug, right? It's just a cap. So we're going to get this disconnected. You see this little gray thing right here on the bottom? We're going to pull this out. Use your fingernails and just pull it out towards us, just like that. Give it a little squeeze and pull it off. So hopefully you can see right there, that's the little thing we pulled out, right? Pull that out, squeeze it, and disconnect that. If you look at the new Ciro plug with the black wire, it's going to be the exact same thing, right? So we're going to put that back on there. We're going to flip it over, push it in, push that lock back in to make sure that stays in place. We can flip that back around like that. Now we need to bring this black wire up behind the chin spoiler, the oil cooler, and up underneath the fairing. Behind the oil cooler, right in front of your floorboard or your engine guard mount, and come right inside the fairing like that. So all of this stuff will be zip tied off here in just a minute. From the frame into the fairing on these Street Glide models or the Batwing fairing models, the handlebars and the fairing turn. So from here to here, you don't want to zip tie that off. You want this wire to be able to move when you're turning the handlebars. Here's our black wire that we just pulled up. So we're going to give ourselves the most room, keeping it underneath all of these other wires. Now it says to connect it to the red wire of the main TAC 10 wire harness, which is this guy right here. There's our yellow, there's our red. We're going to put this red wire into this black one, and that's going to give us a fog light connection. I'm going to take all of this extra and we're going to zip tie it off in here nice and neat on both sides. I'm going to cut the camera, get that all zip tied off, and we'll kick it back on. So we put our main connector back on its little plate right here. We've taken our relay and pushed it up against the frame here. We're going to cut this zip tie off. We got the right side over here just kind of tucked up in here like this. We cut this one off. And now we got our left side tucked over on this side here. Cut that off. And then that leaves us with that black one. See how I didn't zip tie that one? We want that one to be able to move. Now what I like to do from there is take some Tessa tape. This is some cloth tape that's commonly used in automotive. We're going to take some of that tape. This works a lot better than electric tape. If you need some of this, you can get it on Amazon. I buy it in 4 or 5 pack rolls because it's cheaper and I use a lot of it. But you can just pick yourself up a roll of this. Electric tape, over time, it gets hot inside this fairing. It starts peeling. You've all taken stuff off before. Electric tape's been on something for a while and it's just peeled and dust covered and wet and nasty. This cloth tape doesn't do that. I'm going to take these extra connectors that I'm not using and I'm going to put tape over them. You're going to think you're past self for doing this, because now with a piece of tape over it, later on when I pull all this off in a hurry trying to do something, when I put it back together, I'm going to look at that and go, oh, that's got tape on it that didn't have anything connected to it anyway. We're going to take that other accessory connector that was back there that zip tied into this. We're going to do that same thing. This other black and yellow one right here from a while ago. We're going to tape that off. So twofold, keeps dirt and dust and crap out of that, right? And it also tells me later that that's not been used. So I can either put something in it later, or I'll know nothing goes in it at all, and I can quickly put the bike back together. That little plug that we pulled out from underneath the bike, don't toss that. Put that in a drawer somewhere, throw it in the glove box, whatever you need to do, because you just never know. You may want to pull those lights at some point down the road, and you're going to need that little plug to put that back in there. And I guarantee you, if you have to go buy this little thing, you're probably looking at $7 or $8, right? So you're going to kick yourself in the butt for not throwing that thing in a drawer somewhere. So just toss it somewhere, make sure you remember what it was. So now the fun part, right? We get to come over here and test all of our work. This is the part where everybody's like, gosh, I hope I got everything connected correctly, right? But if you followed along, you do, I promise. Come over here. This system takes a little while to boot up, right? So just kick the bike on, and right now you can walk around to the front of the bike and you can make sure that those halo rings are working. We have the key on power to the halo ring, so we know that's right. You're gonna have to give this a second for this little guy over here to pull up our main menu. So if you have to get this menu, depends on how you have your display, hit the motorcycle button on your bike, on your thumb control switch here. We're gonna go over, up to settings. We're gonna go to system. We're gonna scroll down to bike. Okay, we're gonna scroll down to bike function setup. And then it's going to give you a little warning screen here. Just click OK. Front fog lights on. So we want to click that button and turn those on. Right? Now we're going to go back out of this. So when you're in settings and you do that first part, you only have to do that once. That's telling the bike, hey, we got fog lights connected because we connected it to the OEM harness underneath the bike, right? So do that the first time. You don't have to do it again. Click the motorcycle button, go over to the motorcycle, not settings, go to the bike, and then right there we got fog lights, and we're going to click them on, and we're going to go out here. I know they're on because it just lit up the entire wall over there, right? But we're going to come out here, we're going to double check both sides are on. So you know, on this new system, some of this stuff is touchscreen and some of it's not, right? It's kind of weird, but when you're riding and you want to kick those fog lights on, bike button over to the bike right there, kick it on, hit that center button on your thumb control. That's fog lights on, fog lights off. Remember how I told you a while ago those white halo rings from a little bit of a distance actually look like a full white light? You can kind of see that in the camera now. That is just the halo ring lit up. We're going to go to the bike function right there, fog lights on, and you can see that they come on, go off. Very simple. When you set your fairing back up into place, make sure that you feed your headlight wire down there to the side of the neck, right? You don't want to be up in here fishing for that thing. It's easier to plug in from the other side of the bike. We're going to reconnect the other Ciro lights that we have already on the bike. All right. We're going to set this up into place, making sure that headlight connector is kind of down in that groove. Set her back up in here. There's 2 screws right there at the top that stay in the fairing. So I'm going to speed this process up because your bolts go back in the same way that we took them out, right? So, because I forgot a pretty crucial step when working on anything on these newer models, when you're doing anything with the electronics, unplugging any plugs, anything like that, you must pull the main fuse or you're going to get codes. Very easy to do. Left-hand saddlebag, take it off. Left-hand side cover, take it off. Little bitty fuse that's in there. It's your main fuse now. It used to be a big one. That's a little bitty one. You'll see it. Pull it. And I'm actually kind of glad that I forgot, because now if you forgot at home, I can show you how to clear them, right? So on these newer models, if you look over here on the left-hand switch housing, on the top up here, you're going to see a circle with 4 little dots around it, right? What we're going to do is we're going to hold that down and we're going to turn the bike on. Keep holding it down until you see the DTC screen come up, right? So there it is. Give it a couple of seconds. It may show 0 codes when you first turn it on, but give it a couple of seconds and make sure. It's going to read the bike, and because we had the headlight disconnected and all that good stuff, guarantee you there's going to be codes on here. So this is actually the bottom. If you take your finger up here and you scroll down like this, you'll see BCM, we have 1 code. Now, I've did other projects like this, and it can be 1 code, 2 code, 3 code, 4 code. 1 code could actually throw 2 other, 3 other, 4 other codes, so just make sure that you look and you see right there in the BCM, it shows 1 code. So we're going to click on that, and there's our code right there. You can look it up if you want to, but I guarantee it's going to be electronics, right? So we're going to click over here on Clear DTC. New screen comes up, click OK. And just because I've had to deal with this and doing handlebars and stuff like that, you may have to do this 2 or 3 times. So while you're there, just go ahead and do it. It takes a second. Clear DTC, okay. Clear DTC, okay. Go back right there. You see BCM. We now have 0 codes. We can scroll through if you want to. Like I know doing handlebars, you have to do every single one of these. Even though they say 0 codes, you still have to go into every single one of them. And there's no code there. Clear DTC, click OK, go back, go down the list if you want to, right? So now we're going to turn the bike off. Give it about 15 to 20 seconds when you turn that bike off, so let the bike fully shut down. And we're going to come back over here. We're going to turn that bike back on. We're going to go through all of the steps to make sure what we done isn't throwing a code too, right? Once this thing gets fully fired up, we're going to go over to the lights there. We're going to turn them off, turn them on, turn them off. Just go through the process. Go ahead and shut the bike down one more time. We can go through the same process again. Hold that down, turn it back on, right? BCM, ECM, no codes. So we know we're good, right? Just takes a second to go through that and double check. If you fire up your bike and you've got a little triangle over here on the right hand side with a little exclamation point in it, that means you have codes. It doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong with the bike. It just means that the bike has detected at some point, even though this bike was never turned on, it has detected that something's been unplugged or is unplugged or something's not working correctly, right? So when you get that little triangle over there, hold that button down, turn it on, clear your codes. So that's all there is to it. It's really not that hard to do. Get your lights mounted up, run your wires up, get that included adapter for the 23 CVO and newer bikes, plug that in, decide which way you want those lights to come on, and that determines which way you're going to wire it. Put your fairing back on and you're done. Now you have extremely bright white running lights. So if you want to get your hands on the set of the TAC 10 lights, like I said, we've got that video for the 23 and older models. I'll put a link down in the description to that. Now the 23.5 CVO and newer models with just that simple adapter. So it's basically the same kit. You just have to have that a different adapter for the 23 CVO and newer bikes, right? So hopefully today's video showed you how to get all that stuff installed. And we installed it on a chopped engine guard, which pretty much comes standard on 17 and newer bikes now versus the full-size engine guard that we have on the 15. So a little bit different. I need to go through here and just finish zip tying up some of these wires and getting it cleaned up. We're going to take it outside when it gets dark. We're going to aim these headlights. Like I said, after you get them installed, please take the bike outside, shoot it down a road, whatever you need to do. Shoot it down your driveway, get as far away as you can from your house, shoot it back at the house garage, whatever you need to do, shine it on something at a distance to make sure that you're not blinding oncoming traffic. For the Street Glide models, they do have the ones that mount right here on the side, and they puts that light right up here next to your fairing, and it'll actually turn with the fairing. So you do have options. Now this guy didn't want it up here on the fairing, so we opted for the engine guard style, so that's what he got. So I'll put links to all this stuff in the description, including the Batwing fairing one that goes up here in case you want that, and also the adapter for the newer model bikes. Make sure to check out the rest of the channel. Over 250 bagger and softail related videos on our channel right now. Tell your friends about us. That's what keeps us coming out here and making these videos for you. I'm gonna get myself out of here, get cleaned up. I hope to see you in the next video, but until then, as always, be safe, keep your knees in the breeze. Hey, thanks for stopping by and checking out our videos today. If you like what you see, make sure you hit that like button, hit the little subscribe button popping up over here. If you want to check out more of our content, I've got 2 videos right here that'll get you started. Not really going to say anything else, just click one of those videos and take you to another video.